Hello, welcome back. I wanted to do a summary video where I talk about whether I think this month's Humble Choice is worth getting or not. And I do think it was worth getting this time, and I will go into that now. But if you're not interested in hearing me talk about all the games, in the description there's a little chapter or whatever they're called so that you can just jump straight to the end to see where I ranked things. And if you do stick around to hear my thoughts, then yeah, let me know what you think, if you agree or not. Curious to hear what other people who tried these games think as well. I just finished playing through the last of the Humble Choice games for this month. Obviously, I didn't finish all of them because that would just take way too much time, but I did actually finish some of them all the way through to the end, and I played the ones I enjoyed several times, while some of them, which I did not enjoy, I put down after I try to give them at least an hour or two before I decide to put the game down. But I thought it'd be fun to make a little video where I sort of talk about what I think of each one and kind of rank them based on the value, I think, of the game given what you pay for the monthly bundle. So the great category are basically things that I think, if it was just the game I was buying and I wasn't getting all the other stuff, it's still worth it. Like, I think that game alone makes the pack worth buying. And then the niche slash good one is things that I think are probably something people would really enjoy, depending on their taste, or that I just think are okay. And obviously, this whole thing is subjective, right? Like, some people will think things are great that I think are niche or good. And then the last category is filler. These are things that I feel like are just in the pack because, they need to have 8 games or whatever per month in the pack. And this is just something they could throw in there because they had some keys. So basically, anything I personally did not enjoy or that I think is not really worth getting the pack for. Like, it's probably better just to wait for it to go on super, super cheap sale on Steam or something like that if you want to play it. So the first one, and these are just in a random order, but the first one is Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. I'm going to put this one in filler. This is actually the one I played the least, and I didn't even make a video about it just because I didn't really like it, like the recording at all. I didn't really feel like there was anything I could make out of it that I would enjoy watching myself. And that's usually how I make my videos, is I basically just make what I would have wanted to watch. And yeah, I mean, this game is a remake of an older game, and the humor did not age very well, in my opinion. It's just kind of cringe most of the time, and the gameplay itself is like pretty standard, like GTA, Grand Theft Auto style gameplay. So if you really, really love those games, then maybe there's a chance you would like this one. But it was definitely not for me, and like I said, I've just found it so cringe that I honestly couldn't even keep playing. This is the one I played the least. I think I played it for like exactly an hour, and I was like counting the seconds to just stop playing it. So I don't know. Maybe it gets better later on, but I didn't think the gameplay was compelling enough to deal with, I guess, what I thought of as like an awful story and terrible writing. And once again, just my opinion. I know some people do like this game, and the gameplay itself is okay. I think it's nothing special, but it's not bad. The next one is Beacon Pines. So personally, I thought this game was great. I thought I was really, really, really happy with it. I've actually played through the whole thing, and it's like it's like a little lighthearted RPG basically, or story-driven game. And I thought the writing was very fun, and the story itself was really entertaining. And I, I don't want to spoil it. I guess I do have videos of the whole playthrough up, but if you like story-driven games, I think this one would be a great one to get. And I never would have probably bought this game on my own if I saw it, just because based on the cover art, it wouldn't have really appealed to me. But that's what's so great about this humble choice thing, right? Is that there's like a bunch of games in there and you can try them, and a lot of times you'll try one of them and it turns out you'll really enjoy it. I think this one was my favorite out of the whole pack, and like I said, I played through the whole thing. And it's very short, it's only a few hours long, which I think is good. Like, I'm honestly kind of tired of just every single game being like a 40-hour slog through a giant open world. Those games are fun, but it's also nice to have a short game that's like nicely packaged. It's got a great story, and once it's done, it's done. And I really enjoyed my playthrough of it. The next one is Scorn. I think Scorn, I don't know if I would call it filler or niche. I'm gonna put it in filler for now. The thing that's interesting about this game is that the game has like a vibe, and the vibe is gross and creepy and kind of scary, and it does that really well. Like if you like games where you're just like in an environment and it's like atmospheric and they achieve some kind of like immersion in some world, and this one it's like some creepy, like I don't know, like post-apocalyptic or something world. This one I played for I think like 2 hours, and it was like I said, the vibe was good. It was very creepy, very disturbing, very good to look at, I guess, like for what they were going for. I think they did a good job. But I just didn't find the gameplay that fun. The gameplay I did was like a bunch of puzzles, and I actually took a long time to get through the puzzles. It got a little frustrating at points because I felt they were a little obtuse. It was a little hard to know what I was supposed to do. There's like no tutorial of any kind, which is fine. I don't think there's necessarily a need to have like an explicit tutorial in a game, but this game just kind of like drops you in it and doesn't guide you through the gameplay. So you're kind of just like trying random things, and eventually it works out. Like it took me, I think, almost 40 minutes or something to get through the first puzzle because I couldn't find some random thing that was on a wall somewhere that I just didn't see. And that's not very fun when that happens. So I would say that like the atmosphere and the vibe the game had going got a little spoiled for me as a result. I really hated the weapon. It was very clunky and not very fun to use. But if that's your thing, like the atmosphere of games, then you might think this one is better than I did, but I probably wouldn't go back to finish this one. Same thing with this Destroy All Humans game. Like I have no intention of going back to finish these games because I just didn't enjoy them given the problems they had. The next one is Snowtopia. I think this game is good. Like I don't know whether to put it into great or good. Like I wouldn't buy this Humble Choice pack just because of this game, whereas I would buy it just because of Beacon Pines. I did really like Snowtopia though. I'm actually planning on playing it some more as well. So maybe I'll move this one later, but for now I'll put it here. And it's basically like a Zoo Tycoon style game, or that kind of like management sim game, Roller Coaster Tycoon, that sort of thing. It's a lot leaner. Like it was made by a small group of people, and I think they did a great job with it. Honestly, I love the music in the game. It's just like constantly in my head, and I think there's like tons of clips of me just like kind of humming it to myself as I'm playing that made it into the 2 videos I've uploaded of this one so far. On the Steam page, there's like a bunch of complaints about it like being unstable or like buggy, but I honestly didn't have any problems at all playing it. I don't know if maybe I just got lucky or what, but it played perfectly fine for me, and I had a great time like designing my little ski resort and like naming all the ski slopes and kind of goofing around. It doesn't have like a huge amount of content, like I said, because it's made by I think it was made by 2 people, but it has enough. The main focus is the ski slopes, so that works pretty well. And then like the thing I think a lot of when I think of Zoo Tycoon is there's like a ton of decorations to decorate your zoo with, right? And that's what this game is kind of lacking in. It doesn't really have a whole lot of decorations. There's like a modding community, I think, which addresses some of that stuff, but I didn't want to try modding. I kind of just wanted to play the game as is, since, I figured most people aren't going to go out and mod a game. They just are trying randomly from the Humble Choice. But yeah, it was a solid game. I really liked it. Very relaxing, very fun, and definitely going to play it again, I think. And the next one is Oaken. I think Oaken was probably my second favorite game that I played in this pack. And honestly, if Beacon Pines wasn't just so great, like the story, if I hadn't enjoyed the story of Beacon Pines as much as I did, Oaken would have probably been my favorite. Like the gameplay of Oaken is really fun. That's what I liked about Oaken. Whereas for Beacon Pines, it was just the story. And the reason I feel that way is because Oaken is just like the ultimate roguelike for me. It's a roguelike, similar to Slay the Spire and that sort of thing, but it's also a tactics game. And I mean, I've always just loved tactics games, like Final Fantasy Tactics, and I don't know, like Advance Wars and all of those games, all those turn-based games where you have a grid and you have units and they are doing stuff. The combat in this one, I don't know if it's just me getting lucky on like the runs I've done or what, but I felt like the combat itself is pretty easy. There is like an ascension system, and I'm sure if I turned those on, it would feel a lot harder. But like the base difficulty of the game is pretty low, unless you try to do like the puzzles that are in each level. Each like round of combat has a side objective you can do, and those are actually my favorite part of the game because they really force you to change how you play the game. Like normally side objectives in tactics games I feel are kind of lame. It's like touch this square before you die, or like I think of the XCOM levels where you're like on the railroad and there's like a random crate in the corner of the map and it's like you have 10 turns to get to this crate or it's gonna explode, right? And you get like some extra stuff if you do it. In Oaken, I feel like the objectives are varied enough to where I personally didn't see any repeats in the time I played, although I'm sure eventually I will see them. But they were like, don't get hit by a ranged attack, or like protect a unit. So, instead of just rushing the level and taking out all my opponents, I had to like play a lot more defensively if I was defending something, and like sacrifice my own units to keep them alive. Or if it was one of the ones where I couldn't get hit by a ranged attack, it turned into basically a puzzle where I was like trying to figure out which tiles I needed to place things in so that the ranged units would be forced to do a melee attack. And that was really fun. I enjoyed that. The game also just has a lot of systems, like has an ascension system, it has like a meta progression system, it has classes, and it has like followers for each class. And I think if you take a step back, it's not that complicated. Like the class, there's two classes from what I can tell. I haven't unlocked the second class yet, I don't think. But that kind of determines, like say your deck has like 8 cards in it to start, right? Your class determines like 4 of your starting cards, and like your powers, because you also have like a little hero power. It determines 1 of your hero powers, or 2, I forget. And then your follower gives you the other 4 cards to your deck, and then 1 of your other hero powers. So it's like just a way of creating a variety of starting decks. It's not really as complicated as it sounds. That's basically all it is. It's a bunch of different starting decks. The meta progression, it just is like boosts to your character basically. And then, like I said, there's an ascension system that makes the game harder. I did find it a little odd that there was like an ascension system and a meta progression system, because they kind of canceled each other out. And like I said, I felt that the base difficulty of the game was a little low, but maybe I just got lucky in like the first couple runs I did where I got like a really strong deck or something like that. In any case, this game was fun. I really liked it. And I think it has a lot of replayability, and I think it's well executed for what it's trying to do. So I would have probably gotten the Humble Pack just for this game, even without any of the other stuff in it. Or what's a better way of saying that? Like I would be happy to like pay for this game if I knew like how much I would enjoy it, I guess. Whereas like these other games, I would have like refunded them basically if I had bought them. Moving on. The next one is, this one got kind of cut off, but it's There Is No Light. I felt like this one was kind of on the edge of niche and filler again. I'm gonna say that this is like bottom of niche, because like there was nothing wrong with the game. Well, actually, there was a couple things. I'm gonna move it down. It's like at the top of filler. And the thing I didn't really like about this game is that the levels were just enormous, and so I was just getting constantly lost in the level for quite a while. Or like I just wasn't sure if I was going the right direction. I honestly don't even know if I was doing the right thing at all in the game. Like I don't know if I was going the right way or like even moving towards my objective. And I played the game for like, an hour and a half or something. And for the entire hour and a half, I just didn't know if I was even going the right way. So that I didn't like that. I was just playing. I was kind of just like running in a straight line. And it was kind of silly sometimes. I feel like I would be moving in a direction for like, a full 10 seconds and nothing would happen. And, if you want to have like exposition or like sequences where you're like showing off a background or something, that's fine. But this was just like in the middle of the level, there'd just be like this massive hallway where nothing happens for several seconds, like 10-20 seconds of me just walking and nothing happening. I also felt the combat was a little dull, in my opinion. It was pretty easy to fight things once you knew the timings for it, and you kind of just had to do the timing on each monster to beat them. And it's just like an auto, like a melee attack that you would repeat. There was other stuff that I could unlock, but I was just a little too impatient with this game, I think. Like, it required me to spend way too much time without me feeling like I was making any progress or knowing what was going on for me to want to keep playing it. And yeah, obviously these things in the bottom in the filler tier, I just didn't upload the videos for because I didn't think they were interesting enough, or I just didn't enjoy them, and I didn't want to spend a bunch of time making a video for something I didn't enjoy. Let's do. But that said, I do, like I said, I do think maybe some people would think of this game as like good, depending on their taste. So the next one is Life is Strange: True Colors. I would say this game is good, barely. It's like another story-driven game. I like Beacon Pines way better, but this game it looks nice, and like the writing isn't terrible. It can be a little cringy at times, but it's they're trying to be like cute or whatever when characters interact, or they're trying to go for like the character having like a quirk or a personality of some kind, right? So I didn't think it was like bad in any way. The game was a little slow though. I felt like I didn't play very much, I feel, and like that I played it for I think an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I didn't really do much in that time. Like, I mostly just watched a bunch of clips, and then I would like walk around and talk to people a bit, maybe interact with a few things, and then another like quick clip sequence would start. But I do think that's like the point of these games, right? They're meant to be more story driven, and this game got like the strongest, I would say, emotional response from me, because there was like a scene in it where there's something very intense going on, and it actually like stressed me out. I was feeling stressed after that, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna stop here. So I mean, I feel like even though I wouldn't say this game is as good as Beacon Pines, like it did make me feel something, which is good, right? If your game's going to be story driven, you want it to make the player feel happy, sad, anxiety, whatever it is you're going for. And I think this did a good job of that, but it's just a little slow is all. And the last one is Children of Silent Town. I actually liked this one, but I'm going to put it like, this one is the bottom of good, I would say. And that's just because I know that I like it for reasons that I think a lot of other people maybe wouldn't like it for. It's a point and click adventure, right? And so it's interesting because Beacon Pines, Life is Strange, and Silent Town are all similar in that like the main draw of the game is that it's got a good story, right? Or that's the claim anyways, that the story is good. And you're kind of like exploring the story with how you interact with the world. Beacon Pines is like more of like standard RPG controls, right? You like move around and you interact with things by pressing a button, and you're kind of just like playing through an RPG where there isn't combat, essentially. The main mechanic is just interacting with the world. Life is Strange is similar, but Silent Town is like very traditional point and click. Like, there's a screen and you click to move, and you click on things to interact with them, and you click on things and then click on the other thing to combine things. And to me, that's always been a little clunky, but some people really like that. And I thought the game was it looked nice. I liked the aesthetic it had, and it was like, kind of quirky. I think it did a good job with like the part of the story that I got through to where it was, I was interested, because it was being very vague, but it was vague in a way that kept me interested, as opposed to, I don't know, what's an example of a game that is like vague but uninteresting? I don't know. But the point is that like the game was like kind of luring me in, right? With a mystery, and I think it did a good job of that. I did get lost at one point in this game, but and that's what I think, again, the downside of point and click adventures. What happened is I had like failed to click on a specific thing in my bedroom before I left, and so then I couldn't like make progress, and it took me a while to like realize that's what happened. So I like walked around the whole town before I thought to go back to my room and check it, and that's when I realized that I had missed that and was able to make more progress. But that's why I feel Beacon Pines is so great though. Like, I never had that problem with Beacon Pines. I was able to, the game kind of like propelled me to always be making progress, and it was funny, and this game was very funny, but also just the writing was good. So yeah, this is how I would rank them, I think. So yeah, Beacon Pines and Oaken, I would probably have bought those games on their own for the price that I paid the bundle. just because of how much I enjoyed them. I like Beacon Pines the best, then Oaken. Snowtopia, I probably wouldn't have bought just the game, but I did really enjoy it, and so I'm glad it's in the bundle. And I enjoyed it. Was the game I like, my third favorite game. I think I'm gonna switch these two. I definitely liked Silent Town better than Life is Strange. I do want to finish Silent Town at some point. I don't know when I'll have time to do that, but I do plan on eventually going back and finishing it. Life is Strange, I think I want to maybe play it a little bit more. Like I said, the game actually stressed me out quite a bit when I played it. So if I feel stressed the whole time, that's not good. So I'm probably not going to keep playing it if that happens. But if they mix things up a little bit and, the story is good, then I'll finish that one. And these three at the bottom, I don't intend to finish them anymore. And like I said, I wouldn't have bought these on their own. And I feel like to me, they were just filler in the bundle. But I could see some people enjoying There Is No Light and Scorn, depending on what you're looking for. But yeah, Destroy All Humans 2 was just not very good. It was just not, it did not age well. It aged like, I don't know, like dirty gym socks or something like that. It was a stinky game, that's for sure. And yeah, like I said, this is super subjective, obviously, but I think if you're on the fence about getting this month's Humble Choice, if you look at the videos or just part of the videos I uploaded of these two games and they seem interesting to you, then it's worth getting just for these two. I think if you like, one of these if you like either of Beacon Pines and Oaken, it's worth getting. If you like maybe two of the games in the niche or good category and none of the others, then it's probably worth getting. And yeah, the rest of them are just whatever. But I do plan on doing this next month as well. I feel like I've had that Humble Choice for so long that I have like this massive Steam library, and I haven't actually played most of those games because they just keep like accumulating and there's just not enough time. But I felt like this was a good way to kind of force myself to do it. So I'll keep uploading kind of short videos of me trying them out, at least for the ones I enjoy, and then maybe a little summary at the end so that if you're on the fence about it, maybe you can, I don't know, go look at a part of the videos I uploaded for them to make your own decision, or if you have similar tastes to mine, that can help inform you as to whether it's worth getting for the month or not. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I know that it's a bit of a longer video since it's me just talking. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye.